life. With that, I'd like to welcome Mike Foley.
Okay, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? Beautiful fall day. And I agree, Michael is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. So you're in for a treat today. So before we get started, wow, my heart feels vulnerable and open today. Anybody noticing the energy in here? All right, it's just kind of wide open. And what that means to me is that we're in for a treat, because we never know actually how these things are going to go, right, Michael? It's kind of downloaded. But there's been so much energy around this talk, and I think it comes down to the fact that Michael's been sick, so he's vulnerable physically already. I've slept in my own bed for one night out of the last 10, so I'm kind of wide open here. And then the title of the talk, where's Gary? Did you come up with it? Where's Gary?
I'm up here.
Oh, there you are. Did you come up with this thing, Finding Your Soul's Work? Holy cow.
You can't blame me for that one.
All right. Talk about a big concept. It couldn't be finding your next right step. It has to be finding your soul's work. So we've been working on this, and it's been, and really interesting information has been kind of coming all week, and it kind of came to fruition last night. So we're very excited to be here, and it's going to be really interesting to share with you what we have today. So why don't we just kind of all land here, and if we could get that back door, I think we've probably got our last person here. We'll kind of close the energy in here. And why don't you just close your eyes. Take a big, deep, full breath. And fully arrive from your busy week. And just release all the tension from the week, all the daily concerns. Just let it go, rushing from one place to another. And just for this hour, just for this 1 hour this week, let this be the hour where you don't have to do anything, you don't have to fulfill anything, you just have to receive, just like you receive breath. And just let it come in. So on the next exhale, just release it all, and I encourage you all to let this be the 1 hour, relax, receive. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do, but receive. And with that, I'll turn it over to Michael for your next slide.
So, kind of how we do this with Michael and myself is we just kind of tune into you guys. We kind of put ourselves into a future present time, a couple, 3 weeks out. And for me personally, that's how I've been doing performances for a long time. But there's been so much going on the planet and our country the last couple of weeks that every time I checked in, I would put my consciousness out there in the front and come here today, whether it was 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and I would actually feel your energy here. Those of you that had already sent the attention that you were going to be here, or maybe even your higher self knew it before you actually had set the attention from a conscious state. And it was really an amazing process to watch the last several weeks unfold, because there's been so much going on. And in our world, fear and confusion, and with the Ebola thing, and celebrities falling from grace. We got political elections coming up, and there's so much divisiveness with that whole process. And excuse me, my voice is a little bit raggedy today. But so every time I would tune in with my future present sense, there'd be different energies in this room. And even up until 3 or 4 days ago, I still didn't have the songs that I wanted to play and the things that I wanted to say, and the energy work that I wanted to help and support you with today was changing moment by moment by moment. And Thursday was a massive day. I don't know if anybody felt, did anybody else feel a lot of stuff going on this week? Just a lot of energy shifts and maybe a lot of, feelings and emotions coming up, all kinds of stuff. But Thursday was a big day. I mean, I literally felt for about a 2 or 3 hour period like I was walking on one of Mike's sailboats. It was just literally felt like I couldn't get my balance because so much energy was shifting this week that it was really, really a interesting process for me to try to figure out, what was going to serve all of us the best energy-wise and and just from a place of the heart, and having you leave from here today with the absolute most that we can service you and support you with. And that's a two-way street, and you, because all of you, each and every one of you calls that shots to a certain degree, because every time we put ourselves in this room, even if it's 3 days out, we're checking into you. We're checking into where you're at, where your mind and your heart's at, what it is that you need. The angels come out and we ask for their assistance to help with the healings, the processing here today. And there's a lot of sadness in the air, for me personally. And I think there's a lot of sadness on the planet right now. So does anybody kind of relate to what I'm talking about at all? Yeah. So I walked in the kitchen earlier this week, about 3 or 4 days ago, my wife Judy, and I said, well, there's a lot of sadness that I keep feeling here, and it's almost overwhelming to the point. I think I nailed it down, is that we're kind of in this massive shift where we're all, and we're all coming back home, essentially. When the Creator sent us out there and said, we all volunteered to come here, to be here in this time, to make this massive shift of consciousness, which every single one of us is doing in our own way. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, whether you consider yourself a spiritual or energy healer, it doesn't matter. You are making a change. We're all in this process together. And when we agreed to come here, we all agreed to put a veil over our consciousness and forget where we came from. And that's becoming a very painful thing. So I wrote a song. It's called Far Away. The song is so new that I might forget it while I'm playing it. So it's only about 2 days, but I came into the kitchen yesterday, or 2 days ago, and I sung about 2 verses, and I said, I think this is what I'm going to wind up playing. I said, I don't know where it's going to go, and within an hour, the rest of the song had come to me, and it's about all of us coming into that space where we're remembering where we came from, that space of grace, of unconditional love and absolute acceptance, where we just absolutely knew who we were and everything that we were about. And our connection with the Creator was absolute, and when there was no doubt, no forgetfulness, no nothing, we were absolutely there. And we're starting to all remember that space, and pieces are coming in bigger and bigger and bigger. And as we do, as we go through all these contrasts on our planet, they accentuate that old place of, oh my God, this is where we came from, now we're coming back. But the process is somewhat painful, only to the extent that we're remembering where we came from and we're going back there. And this transformation is going to be a tough one, and it is, but at the same time it's also very, very beautiful. So, because we're coming home. So this song is called Far Away, and I'm going to do my best to see what I can do here with it. So.
Travel far away from the land that I know that I love. It's been a long, long time since I've looked upon the stars above the land that I know and love. I remember the fields and the sun, flowers and the sunshine that warmed me on days when I felt cold. It's been a long, long time since I walked among the trees. It was the land that I know and love. Far away, far away, far away, far away from the land I know and love. I'm coming home, wait for me, I'm coming home to the land that I know. Though I've journeyed so far, my heart still knows you well. I can hear the echoes in my soul. So wait for me, 'cause I'm longing to come home to the land that I know and love. Far away, far away, far away, far away I'm coming home, wait for me, I'm coming home to the land that I know and love. Coming home, oh, I'm longing to come home to the land that I know and love. Love.
Let's give Michael applause. Nice job. Absolutely beautiful, Michael. Wow. My new favorite song. I love it. Okay, so the title of the talk today is Follow Your Bliss, ... and then what? You know, we've seen all those posters, follow your bliss, and the person's looking at the sunset, or they're looking at the mountain range, or the surf and the waves. And what they don't talk about is what's the next step after that. You go back to your tent, and there's a bunch of mosquitoes, and it starts raining, and you forgot your food or your water. So what is it? Follow your bliss. Yes, it's a great punch in the arm, but then what do you do with the mess once you do follow your bliss? And it is sometimes very messy. It's not a clean path. It's not an easy path, but it is well worth it if we're willing to take a hard look at it. So years ago, one of my favorite movies was Joe versus the Volcano, and at one point he's going on a big expedition, and he's shopping in New York, and he goes to a luggage shop. He's like, I need steamer trunks for the South Pacific. And the guy doesn't say anything. He just goes, luggage has been the central preoccupation of my entire life. I think I have just the thing for you. And so following one's bliss and understanding the ramifications of all of these things and you finding your right vocation, that has actually been the central preoccupation of my life. It's been and I've been using myself as an experiment to find out what works, what doesn't work. And as my friends certainly can tell you, some things work, some things don't. We'll get to that in a little bit here. So I have a lot to share with you, and it's been, normally I never actually put energy into trying to pull it together in a gestalt because it's just so much, and it's just, how do we wrap our minds around it? And there is no cookie-cutter approach. So the thing that I've been doing over the years, and Michael and I do with the services, is we just sit down or we connect with individuals or groups, and we just kind of tune in, what's the piece of the puzzle that's being called for in that moment? And then that kind of comes out. So this is going to be kind of putting all the pieces together, if we can, in the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So, my story is I came up from a family of 6, and my dad was a director of training of various companies, and we moved a lot. And, my mom, growing up, we had some financial problems, and, her mantra was, you're going to be an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor, period. No other choice. That was the mantra growing up. And, of course, I chose engineering. I went to college in engineering, hated engineering, and I was at school, it was like the Big Bang Theory through my mind. And I just felt like an imposter, like one of these things doesn't belong here, and it's me. And I got out of school, and I worked for GE as a sales engineer, and I had the blue suit and the red tie. And once again, my daughter, she posed a question to me recently. She said, who would you look like if your inner matched your outer? And I look kind of like a GE guy. I know this, and I did get rid of the tie, but I do look like a GE guy. But I said, Megan, I would be, I think from probably like a country like Senegal, and I'd have an African shirt on, and I'd have dreadlocks, and I'd be a guitar player, a really good guitar player. That's what I feel like inside, but that's not what I look like on the outside. So it's, you trying to match up the inner with the outer. And so at about the same time that I was starting to get very discontent with my career in my late 20s, I ran across Joseph Campbell, and many of you know I really enjoy Joseph Campbell, and he said, if you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that's always been there all the while waiting for you, and the life you ought to be living is the one you are living. When you can see that, you begin to meet people who are in your field of bliss, and then they open doors to you. I say follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and the doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. And if you do follow your bliss, the doors will open in a way that you could never have foreseen. And it's a magical, wonderful, inspirational, kind of tome there. But there's more to it. There's more to it, because this is the thing that got me going. I did actually end up quitting GE, and I'll tell you a little bit more about there. I did jump, and I had about 2 months of savings, and it wasn't like I was willy-nilly, like I had a bunch of savings, a bunch of money in the bank. And I had a daughter, I was divorced, I had monthly payments, I had a little house, I had sold my house here near Lake Harriet. I must have known something was happening, because I bought this house in St. Louis Park, real low mortgage, wish I had that now. Anyway, so I had downsized completely, and I jumped to the point where I had the thought, I'm going to do my own thing, and I am going to follow my bliss, and because that is the most important thing in my life. If I don't do that, then I've got nothing. So I'm going to do it. And even if I have to work at Kmart pushing a broom, I'm going to do it. So did I necessarily know my bliss at that moment? No, I had inklings. I had some inklings of what it was. I knew what it wasn't, but I had some inklings. And sometimes that's the best we can do, is go toward your inklings. And it's kind of like it's like being in a doorway into the next room, and you're looking into the next room. I can't see, and I can study and save and talk to people and do all these things, but my vision into the next room is always going to be this. At some point, I actually have to jump into that next room, and when I step into that next room, what happens to my vision? Opens up, and it's like, I don't want to go there, I want to go there, all right? But it doesn't happen unless you step. And there's like some spiritual thing where if you step, as Michael was saying, all the angels are like, oh, we got a player, let's go, meet up with them. So I would say be bold and jump. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, it'll look like you're going wrong in the moment sometimes, but be bold and jump. Life gets very interesting very fast. Even Stephen Jobs, he said just before his death, he said, and the most important thing is have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way to know that and avoid the trap of thinking that you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Now, this is Stephen Jobs. This is a big, corporate guy, and this is what he's saying, all right? So spot on, absolutely. So you do need that inspiration. You do need that impulse to take that jump, but there's some things that can have some skills that will help us if we take that, after we take that jump, and what are those? So that's the ... and then what? Well, first of all, I think what we're really after with the following your bliss thing is to, what did I write? To fully and completely express our unique selves, and as a result, find contentment that we have played our part and played it well in this life. And if you think about it, that's really what we're after. We want to play our part. It's not about glory and riches. Sure, those are great things, but it's really about, at the end of the day, did you leave it all in the field in your life? Did you love? Did you express? Did you experience as much as you possibly could in this life? And that is the thing that we're really after, and connect with other human beings. So, the tricky thing here is, and I think the error is that we think there's one thing. It is, and we hear about these people, good for them, that they find one thing, So Stephen Jobs followed his bliss. It was Apple computer. Good for you, Steve. Mick Fleetwood, I saw this thing on him. It was drums. He loved drums since he's been 5 years old. He got his one thing. Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer, surfing. He found his one thing. And, for some of us, we're like, gosh, I've been looking for my bliss, following my bliss for 30, 40 years, and I still don't know what it is. Anybody have that thought, that secret thought? Well, what is it, for crying out loud? I'm trying, man. And it's for some of us, it's not the one thing. It's a patchwork of things. It's a patchwork. And to accept that, no, maybe for me it's not, I'm going to jump out of bed. I want to be a fireman, It never happened for me. It's been a patchwork of things. And I would encourage you to take a look. My patchwork is sailing, corporate training, traveling, working with charities, group coaching, family life, and giving talks. And it seems to be the thing that brings me fulfillment, the patchwork of those things. I've tried to do just one of those things, and I get very unfilled and very out of balance very quickly. So for me, it's the patchwork. So what I'd encourage you as I go through this talk is start thinking about, what is your patchwork? What's the thing that makes you feel fully alive, fully expressive, fully experiencing life? And the analogy that I like is the movie Castaway. Anybody remember Tom Hanks in Castaway? So if you haven't seen this movie, go get it. Really good movie. Anyway, so he's on this island. He gets plane crashes. He's on this desert island in the South Pacific, and he's there for 5 years. Just, he finally just has had it. He's going to try to get back out to sea to get home. And he cobbles together these logs. So he gets about 10 logs, and with videotape tape and twine, he ties these logs together, and then he times exactly how the tide and the current so that he can get out over the reef and over the crashing waves out to sea. And I think it's the perfect analogy for me and possibly some of us here is, the logs is the patchwork. The logs are those activities that bring you fulfillment. One log might be gardening. One log might be working with kids. Another log might be puttering the house. Another log might be writing songs. Another log might be, I know Angelique, she loves science. She's reading these books this thick. I'm like, why would you do that? And she loves science. And so you have to find what are the logs that you can cobble together with twine. And that's the patchwork. That's the thing, if you can pull these things together and bind them, that's the thing that's going to get you over the crashing waves and the reef out to the deep water so you can make your journey wherever it is you're to go, all right? But the work is to figure out what those logs are and what is your relationship with those logs. That's what we'll talk about here. So once again, my logs are training, group coaching, sailing, volunteering, having, we'll come back to that, home projects, etc. So lash together, these are the things. So you do have to follow your bliss, but you first have to create a strong carrier to get through and over the waves. Now, I looked up the word career, and it's Latin for carrier. All right, I'll say that again. Career is Latin for carrier. It's the thing that's going to carry you. They say it's a road for vehicles, a profession for which one trains and which one undertakes for a permanent calling. So if you think of your career, rather than just my one job as your career, what if the patchwork of your logs, that is your career? That's your carrier. That's the thing that's going to carry you through the hard and tougher times. So for my brother John, he teaches 17-year-old kids English literature. He writes novels, some published, a lot not. Spends prodigious amounts of time in nature, hiking and painting, and he working with his 6-year-old son. Those are all his different logs. For my daughter Megan, I'm so pleased that she has chosen a path without any pushing on my part. She has totally chosen this path where she's going to put together a patchwork of things. And she's right out of college, no money, and she is working in a coffee shop. She works as an assistant in a naturopath's office, and she's a yoga teacher. Yoga is her central passion and love. And she has worked these and bound these together because the twine that binds these together, that's your energy and that's your time. And we only have so much of that. So be very careful and thoughtful and conscious of what are the logs that you're bringing in to be part of your carrier. And what I would say as navigation tools going forward is, number one, you have to understand, does that log serve you for your long-term mission, for your long-term voyage? And I've noticed that sometimes over time it did serve me, but over time it stopped serving me. And you know it stopped serving you because you don't want to do that thing. Anybody notice that? All right? When I was with GE, I could barely get myself out of bed after about 2 years. I was like, oh. And then I get in front of a client, and I don't know, I have this thing where if I don't believe something, I can't talk. So I'm like, I think I really like this. And so I couldn't sell it. I couldn't sell any stuff anymore, and it was terrible. So be bold and jump. Goethe says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiatives and creation, there is only one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help the one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issue forth from this decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. Whatever you can do, I say, dream big, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. All right, and that's Goethe. And so for me, an example, I was just telling my partner Angelica a couple days ago, she asked me, how did I get this big company that I've been working with, the software company? And I said, well, it goes back like 15 years ago. I happened to be working with this person from Wells Fargo, and then she got let go there, and I encouraged her to start her own business, and then she got involved in this other company that does training for software companies, and then she called me out of the blue, and now I'm doing nothing but work. So what I'm saying here is you never know how these things will come back to you. But if you're fully expressing yourself, people remember that energy from you, and you have no idea how it's going to come back and assist you down the road. So every day is a new life to fully give it everything you've got. The second tool that I would say, navigation tool, like a compass as you're out there on the sea, is get support. Get support, get support. And what I mean by that is surround yourself by people who support your soul at its deepest levels, all right? You know what I'm talking about? When you're with these people, you feel fully received. You feel when you know you're with these people, because when you walk away, your energy has gone up. And the paradox is that their energy has gone up. That is a sacred relationship. Does that make sense? When you're not getting support, it feels like when you walk away, you have lower energy, all right? Now, I'm not saying cut these people out of your life. I'm just saying build up the support. Surround yourself with people that really enhance your energy and support you in following these things. As my daughter would say, support you in flying your freak flag all the way to the top, all right? She's like, Dad, you don't have to actually fly your freak flag all the way to the top all the time. I'm like, well, that's probably true. But get the people that really get you and then want to support you, and then really important. I remember years ago when I was at Theophilus Divinity School here in town, one of our teachers was Laura Smedstad, and she, I was trying to come up with excuses why I shouldn't leave my corporate job. And, your teachers are all around you all the time, and they're the ones who are going to tell you the truth, and sometimes it's a tough, harsh truth if you haven't ever experienced that. And Laura says, and I was going on and on about, well, I want to be a responsible dad, and I have a, 6-year-old daughter, and I have, to have health care and benefits and blah, 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 blah. And she says, so let me get this straight, Mike. So you're going to hide behind your daughter and act like the dutiful dad, when in fact, what you really are is scared to step out and step off that cliff. And what you're teaching your daughter in a de facto sort of way is what it means to be an adult is to live in fear and not follow your dreams. I know, it was like a whack. I was like, I was speechless. But it was the truth. It was the truth, all right? So your friends are the ones who will, be open to that feedback too. So get support. The next, the sextant, so to speak, would be, I don't believe I'm going to swear in church, but to hell with your good standing and reputation. You got to let it go. I got to let it go. Yes. Yes. All right? Because nobody's thinking about you anyway. Isn't that depressing? I know. I'll prove this to you. I know it's so depressing. So psychologists tell us we think about ourselves what percentage of the time? What do you think? What percent? Like 98, 99% of the time. I know, even when you're doing charity, you're like, well, I like this charity, all right? So we're still thinking, isn't that terrible? So what percentage of the time do they have left to think about it? We're not thinking about it. So your loved ones adore you, we're thinking about it. But beyond that, your reputation, who cares, all right? So, and I'm in good standing here. Rumi says, run from what's comfortable, forget safety, live where you fear to live, destroy your reputation, be notorious. I have tried prudent planning long enough. From now on, I'll be mad, all right? So let's be mad together. And that means that intuition of you, if you haven't noticed this, that intuition in you that says go do this thing, it does not care what you think. It does not care about your rationale. It does not care about what your family thinks. It knows what it knows. The heart knows where it wants to go. Does that make sense? Yeah, so this is tough stuff, I know, but it's really interesting and really fun, especially if you surround yourself with like-minded warriors who are on this path. The next, I'm sorry, I've got a list here. I told you it was a big talk. Don't chase money. Don't chase money. Money's great. Don't get me wrong. My mom used to say, money is not going to make you happy, but it's a damned inconvenience when you don't have it. It's kind of true. But don't chase the money. What I would say is If it's quick and easy, avoid it. I've never seen anybody make any money the quick and easy way. What I've seen is the people that make money is they found a way to find a labor of love. All right, they love crafting, pottery. They love music. And then the second part of this is to be of service and share this. And it's two parts. It's the labor of love, and it is a painful thing. It's like giving birth, right? Anybody write a talk or write a paper or write a song? Michael, writing a song, is that just the easiest thing in the world? Just kind of falls out of you? Yeah, sometimes? Sometimes for me, writing a talk, it's always painful. It's like, it's like giving birth. But then you get on the other side and it's a wonderful thing. So, don't shy away from it if it's difficult. And then be of service. So that's what I would say there. The last thing I would say is be open to the cycle of life. Be open to neti, which is not this, not this. And what I mean by that is the word Om. It's A-U-M. In Sanskrit, and it means which is opening, O, which is full career, full expression, and which is the closing, the death. And then back into the silence, and then back, birth, life, opening, and it's the seasons, it's our life, it's, it just goes round and round. And to honor this means to honor that everything has a finite life to it. And your purpose and your passion for something, it has a life as well, all right? So to be open to where are you in this, and do you need to reinvent yourself and follow something else, and maybe let a log go from your carrier and add another log and that might bring more inspiration to you. Does that make any sense? All right, so it's an opening, it's a full expression, and there's some So for me, one of the courses that I teach at the companies is speaking on the spot. And I have taught this thing about 100 times, and it's almost like I'm a chatty Cathy doll that pulls his own string, like, blah, 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 blah. And it's gotten to the point where I can't teach this, I'm done. I've done the Om, I'm in the death, and I'm still trying to, resuscitate this course for myself, and I just can't do it anymore. So I have to let go. Let go. Just let go and there's, the good news is when you let go, something else. And sometimes you have to wait for the inspiration, but it comes, and it's something else that's trying to be birthed. Something else is trying to come to life. What is it? And the thing that it is the thing, if you listen to your energy and your intuition and follow that, that's the spark. That will show you what this new thing is, and then you start putting energy toward that. And lastly, I would say, don't take yourself too seriously and start flinging the spaghetti against the wall, all right? Meaning, just start trying stuff. Start flinging the spaghetti, and your friends and loved ones will tell you very, very quickly if you're on the right path. I remember the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy. Everybody remember that? Yeah? And he somehow gets spun around, and he's going the wrong way down the highway. And the guy's like, "You're going the wrong way." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going the wrong way." And I fortunately have friends and loved ones in my life that scream at me, "You're going the wrong way." In fact, two things. One is I thought I wanted to be a sailing captain. I love sailing, but I thought I wanted to be a charter captain. Big wrong idea there. I ended up being like a limo driver for people who just wanted to get drunk and go from island. They could care less about sailing. I was like, well, this is the wrong way to go. And then I had this wonderful idea. I'm going to start an eco-friendly taxi company years ago. And you're going the wrong way when your friends who adore you start laughing. All right, that's probably a good sign that you're going the wrong way. All right, so just look for that. So in closing, I would like to just highly encourage all of you to listen to your intuition and follow your bliss, and at the same time, honor the fact that you have to cobble together this unique raft that's going to carry you out to sea and carry you across the ocean to your dreams. If we do so, we will most certainly, you will live a life and experience that deep contentment and peace that comes from knowing that by God I lived a life and I lived it well. Amen.
I hear the choir singing in the night. Bring us all the dawning light. I know your truth will show the way. Bring us to a brighter day. I think it's time for all the world to come home. With love and tenderness, the seeds have been sown. Bring all the pieces back together once again, yeah. Let the miracles begin. It's taken a while to understand the great, great power of I am. Forever strong when we come together, lifted up in any kind of weather now. I think it's time for all the world to come home. With love and tenderness, the seeds have been sown. Bring all the pieces back together once again, yeah. Let the miracles begin. Well, I'm ready for anything. I'm ready for a miracle. I'm ready to take a giant piece of faith. Bring all the pieces back together once again. Let the miracles begin. Begin. Coming home to familiar ground, led back by your beautiful sound. But in my heart, you know I've never been away. Prepare the table, 'cause I'm here to stay. Oh, Lord, no, I've been awake, but I'm coming back and I'm here to stay, yeah. Let the pieces all come back and dead again, yeah. Let the miracles begin. Whoa, yeah, whoa. I think it's time for all the world to come home. With love and tenderness, seeds have been sown. Bring all the pieces back together once again, yeah. Let the miracles begin. Let the miracles begin. Yeah. Begin, yeah. Let the miracles begin. Goodbye.
So we're going to hand out the song that we kind of do every time I do with Mike here. This one's a sing-along. This one I promise will be a little easier than the other one.
Yeah, I'd be sweating on the other one.
So the chorus is I am, so just join in when you hear it.
We are children of the stars, we are made of sacred light. We carry in our hearts the sound of one. Here we go. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am. We are everlasting, ever love, forever light, forever love. I am, I am, I am. carry this love throughout this day with a heart full of gratitude. I will pray. I am, I am, I am. Lord, you know that I am, I am, I am. I'm gonna sing it from my heart, yeah, yeah. I am, I am. Oh, I am, Lord, I am, I am, I am. Gonna sing it from my heart, Lord, oh, 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 I am, I am.
As you go forward today, I'd like to encourage you to take a moment to tune into what your next step is and then take that leap. Remember, it is indeed a friendly universe, and it is just waiting for you to join you in your serendipitous adventure. So be bold, throw off the bow lines, and launch that craft of yours, and watch as miracles come your way. God bless you all. Have a good day.